Welcome to Far From Eden. If it's your first time, hi there. We do all kinds of things on this channel. We read Rudyard Kipling poems, Paul Harvey, uh, cop cam videos, all looking for truth about what's going on in this world and what's facing men in our society and how some women are greatly contributing to that. And if you've been around, you know I'm just being careful with my words so I don't generalize. Some people don't understand that type of, they don't understand statistics. Anyways, so one of my favorite things to do on this channel that kind of just happened by accident is finding truth in the Brothers Grimm's work. I don't want to glare. This is a very old copy from, I believe, the 1930s of Grimm's Fairy Tales by the Brothers Grimm. And we started reading them on this channel, just kind of looking at what did people used to know? What did people used to think? And wow, we sure did discover quite a lot. And now I think I've read pretty much all the ones that are known. Maybe I haven't read Hansel and Gretel yet. But we've read, Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Snow White, Fisherman and His Wife, kind of the more well-known tales. So now we're going rogue. I picked at random old Grizzly Beard, and that turned out wonderfully. So today we're just going to do, just because the title looked promising, the 12 Dancing Princesses. I figure let's see what the Brothers Grimm have to say about these princesses. So interested to know what kind of truths, warnings may be contained in this particular story. So I feel like it's been a while since we've done one, but I think it was just maybe last weekend. Not sure. The 12 Dancing Princesses. There was a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They slept in 12 beds, all in one room. And when they went to bed, the doors were shut and locked up. But every morning, their shoes were found to be quite worn through, as if they had been danced in all night. And yet nobody could find out how it happened or where they had been. Seems like we've got some princesses gone wild happening here. Then the king made it known to all the land that if any person could discover the secret and find out where it was that the princesses danced in the night, he should have the one he liked best for his wife and should be king after his death. But whoever tried and did not succeed after 3 days and nights should be put to death. Well, that's quite the challenge. You're either going to be king or you're going to be put to death. Wow, that's quite something. A king's son soon came. He was well entertained, and in the evening was taken to the chamber next to the one where the princesses lay in their 12 beds. There he was to sit and watch where they went to dance. And in order that nothing might pass without his hearing it, the door of his chamber was left open. But the king's son soon fell asleep, and when he awoke in the morning, he found that the princesses had all been dancing. For the soles of their shoes were full of holes. The same thing happened the second and third night. So the king ordered his head to be cut off. After him came several others, but they had all the same luck and all lost their lives in the same manner. Why do you guys think that he said after 3 nights you're going to be put to death? Do you think that he didn't believe them, that they actually found out? Wow. They didn't play back in the day, it just wasn't People were very serious about things back in the day, things that mattered. Now it chanced that an old soldier who had been wounded in battle and could fight no longer passed through the country where this king reigned. And as he was traveling through a wood, he met an old woman who asked him where he was going. "I hardly know where I am going, or what I had better do," said the soldier. "But I think I should like very well to find out where it is that the princesses dance, and then in time I might be a king." "Well," said the old dame, "that is no very hard task. Only take care not to drink any of the wine which one of the princesses will bring to you in the evening. And as soon as she leaves, you pretend to be fast asleep." So the princesses have been drugging these guys? I don't want to skip ahead. Sorry, I get too excited. Then she gave him a cloak and said, "As soon as you put that on, you will become invisible, and you will then be able to follow the princesses wherever they go." When the soldier heard all this good counsel, he determined to try his luck. So he went to the king and said he was willing to undertake the task. He was as well received as the others had been, and the king ordered fine royal robes to be given him. And when the evening came, he was led to the outer chamber. Just as he was going to lie down, the eldest of the princesses brought him a cup of wine. But the soldier threw it all away secretly. Hold on. Taking care not to drink a drop. Then he laid himself down on his bed and in a little while began to snore very loud, as if he was fast asleep. When the 12 princesses heard this, they laughed heartily, and the eldest said, "This fellow too might have done a wiser thing than lose his life in this way. These princesses know that if they know the deal. They know that if these men can't figure it out, then that they don't care." Interesting. Interesting. When they rose up and opened their drawers and boxes and took out all their fine clothes and dressed themselves at the glass, is that the mirror? And skipped about as if they were eager to begin dancing. These chicks are going clubbing. They're partying. They're partying too much. The king doesn't want his daughters out partying, and it's basically, well, whatever man can figure it out and rein them in gets to marry one, because clearly then he's capable. The funny thing to me so far is that a man would want to, knowing that they're out, doing like, medieval clubbing. This is fascinating. Okay. But the youngest said, "I don't know how it is while you are so happy. I feel very uneasy. I am sure some mischance will befall us." She's having her women's intuition. "You simpleton," said the eldest, "you are always afraid. Have you forgotten how many kings' sons have already watched us in vain? And as for this soldier, even if I had not given him his sleeping draft, he would have slept soundly enough." Oh, she's insulting him and emasculating him. Why? Because he's an older soldier guy? Rude. These women don't seem like they're very different to some of the modern women that we encounter today. It's so similar. I totally picked this at random because it was called 12 Dancing Princesses. Like, what? Gold in this book. When they were all ready, they went and looked at the soldier, but he snored on and did not stir hand or foot. So they thought they were quite safe. And the eldest went up to her own bed and clapped her hands, and the bed sunk into the floor, and a trap door flew open. The soldiers saw them going through the trap door, one after another, the eldest leading the way, and thinking he had no time to lose, he jumped up, put on the cloak which the old woman had given him, and followed them. But in the middle of the stairs, he trod on the gown of the youngest princess, and she cried out to her sisters, "All is not right. Someone took hold of my gown." "You silly creature," said the eldest. "It is nothing but a nail in the wall." The infighting. I know a lot of you guys talk about the sisterhood, but man, we fight amongst each other a lot. "You silly creature," said the eldest. "It is nothing but a nail in the wall." Then down they all went, and at the bottom they found themselves in a most delightful grove of trees, and the leaves were all of silver and glittered and sparkled beautifully. The soldier wished to take away some token of the place, so we broke off a little branch, and there came a loud noise from the tree. Then the youngest daughter said again, "I am sure all is not right. Did not you hear that noise? That never happened before." But the eldest said, "It is only our princes who are shouting for joy at our approach." Who now? What? Then they came to another grove of trees where all the leaves were of gold, and afterwards to a third where the leaves were all glittering diamonds. And the soldier broke a branch from each, and every time there was a loud noise which made the youngest sister tremble with fear. But the eldest still said, "It was only the princes who were crying for joy." So they went on till they came to a great lake, and at the side of the lake there lay 12 little boats with 12 handsome princes in them who seemed to be waiting there for the princesses. Now hold on one second. Their father is deciding who they shall marry, and they are meeting up with other princes. This is not different than like modern day. It's just using slightly different words and imagery. No wonder they changed these stories. No wonder. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, where was I? All right, so they've got princes meeting them. One of the princesses went into each boat, and the soldier stepped into the same boat with the youngest. As they were rowing over the lake, the prince who was in the boat with the youngest princess and the soldier said, "I do not know why it is, but though I am rowing with all my might, we do not get on so fast as usual." This is scandalous. These princesses are some 304s going on here. And I am quite tired. The boat seems very heavy today. "It is only the heat of the weather," said the princess. "I feel it very warm too." She's not rowing. She's not rowing. It's typical. On the other side of the lake stood a fine illuminated castle from which came the merry music of horns and trumpets. They reached the club. There they all landed and went into the castle, and each prince danced with his princess, and the soldier, who was all the time invisible, danced with them too. And when any of the princesses had a cup of wine set by her, he drank it all up, so that when she put the cup to her mouth, it was empty. At this too, the youngest sister was terribly frightened, but the eldest always silenced her. They danced on till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then all their shoes were worn out, so that they were obliged to leave off. The princes rowed them back again over the lake, but this time the soldier placed himself in the boat with the eldest princess. And on the opposite shore, they took leave of each other, the princesses promising to come again the next night. When they came to the stairs, The soldier ran on before the princesses and laid himself down. And right, because he's got to pretend he's been sleeping in bed the whole time. And as the 12 sisters slowly came up, very much tired, they heard him snoring in his bed. So they said, "Now all is quite safe." Then they undressed themselves, put away their fine clothes, pulled off their shoes, and went to bed. In the morning, the soldier said nothing about what had happened, but determined to see more of this strange adventure, and went again the second and third night. And everything happened just as before. The princesses danced each time till their shoes were worn to pieces, and then returned home. However, on the third night, the soldier carried away one of the golden cups as a token of where he had been. As soon as the time came when he was to declare the secret, he was taken before the king with the 3 branches and the golden cup, and the 12 princesses stood listening behind the door to hear what he would say. And when the king asked him, "Where do my 12 daughters dance at night?" he answered, "With 12 princes in a castle underground." That sounds, underground, is that symbolic of sort of like Hades, Is that like we're going like evil? Is that, do you guys think that? This is what popped into my head. It's underground. It's also like in secret. I'm sure it's important. And then he told the king all that had happened, and showed him the 3 branches and the golden cup which he had brought with him. Then the king called for the princesses and asked them whether what the soldier said was true. And when they saw that they were discovered, and that it was of no use to deny what had happened, they confessed it all. And the king asked the soldier which of them he would choose for his wife. And he answered, "I am not very young, so I will have the eldest." And they were married that very day, and the soldier was chosen to be the king's heir. And that's it. In true Grimm fairy tale fashion, it's when it's over, it's over. So he still picked a wife, and he picked the oldest one because he's not so very young. That's fascinating. Again, we don't have consequences that we know of for the princesses, right? We don't have consequences for them. They only confessed when they had been absolutely found out. That's so interesting. And it's interesting because he picked the eldest, right? He chose the eldest. That's also interesting because the eldest would not be the most valuable. The youngest would depending on how young, but like generally the youngest one would be the most valuable. The youngest one would produce the most amount of heirs. He's going to be the king. Interesting that he was kind of so humble as to pick the lesser. Also, when he's looking at it as so he's taking a bride, he's choosing the eldest one, he's leaving the younger ones to that other king, which will benefit that other king. He's taking, because usually the oldest one, it's like, we got to get her married off. We got to get her married off. He did the king a favor, really, by choosing the eldest one. And like I said, he's going to, one would think, have fewer heirs by choosing the eldest one, which says a lot about his character. This spoke a lot about these princesses' character. They were getting away with basically kind of scandalous type behavior. to be sneaking out and dancing with men that, this is old European. It's not like it was written in the 1920s with, loose women sneaking off to speakeasies. Fascinating. And I feel like the shoes being worn out every night, like basically they're ruining shoes every night. That's got to be symbolic. It's disposable, right? We're just going to wear them out, get new ones. And they didn't care also about these men. Their father is trying to find out the secret. And clearly they're not saying. And they're allowing men to be put to death so that they can dance when they should be, looking to be serious, get married, have families, etc. And they don't seem interested in that at all. We are where we usually are when I've read a poem or a fairy tale. Ooh, careful with the book, Erin. Where we go, well, yeah, nothing has changed. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Men have always been men. Women have always been women. We are made a certain way. We are in different environments, especially post-industrial revolution. It's very different than pre-industrial revolution. But interestingly, we're the same. We're still wired the same. Our natures are still the same. And in my opinion, our roles should still be the same. Wow. Man, I'm just going to keep picking them at random because you never know. Life is like a box of chocolates. It's actually more like life is like a Grimm's fairy tale is what it is. It's just brilliant. Goodness gracious. So I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you are doing something that brings you peace. And I just want you to know I love you guys. I want you to also know that I'm thinking in the future of starting to ask some of you if I can interview you about experiences that you've had and things that you've been through. So if anybody is interested in that, wants to share their story, reach out. My email is on the YouTube page, feminismontrial@gmail.com. You can reach out to me there. And, because what I think is that it's really about you all and your experiences and your stories. And we know that if I'm ever going to reach women look at things on a very personal level. So you can show them statistics and you can show them generalizations, and it's really hard to connect. But if I want to share stories of you, because men are human, men are people. And I think for so long, it's sort of been like you all have been dehumanized. Like you don't have feelings and you don't have hearts that can be broken. And you don't have needs or wishes or preferences, or that any of that matters. So I don't know, just something I'm thinking of. And I just kind of want to know what you all think about that. So with that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. And just remember that I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one.